everybody, especially you in the Studio 54 shirt. Come on. Let me hear you.
Freak out. Freak out.
Let me help you.
Well, Annika, do you know this guy? He also sings "We Are Family. Brothers and my sisters and me. We are family." Boo, 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 boo. Okay, I know the songs, and I'm sure you know the songs too. I'm sure you heard them before. I just never knew the guy, and boy, he's so amazing. Gosh. He looks small and long, you know, dreadlocks and beautiful. Gosh, I mean, so much talent, and it's just out there, you know. It's amazing. So the reason I chose him is, you know, he talked about the Studio 54 shirt, and your dad and I actually once went to Studio 54. Now, at the time, I was scared to death to dance. So we did go there, but it was kind of, all right, you know, and for me it was, can we go? And the reason he said, you know, especially you in the Studio 54 shirt, the reason he said that is that he wrote this song, oh gosh, it was supposed to call Fuck You, the song, and then he changed it to Freak Out, you know, and the freaks are chic. And so, you know, I like to be chic. I like to be pretty. And he was not allowed to enter Studio 54 because it was a time where, you know, people of color, they were not accepted yet in America, and especially not in the, you know, super fancy places like Studio 54. And this is kind of how I feel with Daimler right now. You know, it is so special that you know, it must be kings and queens living in there. You know, it's amazing because they accept everything. About 90% of my artwork is with Daimler already. They haven't returned anything. They accept everything, and yet, you know, and things have happened there that are beyond any law on earth, that are not right. So Annika, please, I invite you to think about really what's going on here. And the reason I wanted to share, you know, one more story with you is, you know, and this is the last tape, is that Princess Kate just delivered her second baby. She has a girl now. I haven't found out the name yet, and it's funny, that family was kind of like parallel to you and Florian, because you were born in the same year as Prince William, and Florian in the same year as Prince Harry, and we got married a little bit after, and I think you are a touch younger, both of you. And a lot of what went on in that marriage resembled our marriage, your dad's and my marriage, because you know, I hate to say this, but you know, Omi Hildegard, she didn't want us to get married. So she was so afraid that history would repeat itself, because in her family, you know, your dad's father, he worked for her sister's husband, who was a millionaire, and treated him like the last of the last, like dirt. And because it was all family, you know, he had no power. he was a wimp. I'm sorry to say. I mean, he would do anything this woman would say to him. You know, Omi Hildegard. You know, she was the one who was wearing the pants, and she's the one also who did a lot of things that hurt your father. And I'm not going to go into details. Please ask your dad about that. And there was a lot of baggage that your dad came with into the marriage as well. And those were things that, you know, I worked through that a little bit also in my therapy, but then, you know, we were married for 20 years and together for 22, and to be quite honest, I don't know that much about your dad in all that time. It's really, really sad. And you know, he had a way of pulling all this information out of me because he knew I was going to therapy, and I started talking about this, and it's something that, in a way, I think helped him too. And yet he then later went also to therapy, and you can tell me what you want. He went to therapy because I went there to his what he called mentor. It was therapy too, only he paid for it 100%, so he didn't have to call it an illness. And you know, he was advised in business, and to be quite honest, so was I. You know, it's like I also got hints on what I can do, you know, to earn my own living. So what's the difference? And so he never told me when he went, and I'm not the kind of person to probe, you know, and ask questions. And of course, you know, I was financially dependent on him, and he used my dependency to the bottom until I was down on the floor to get what he needed, to get what he wanted, and the way he wanted it. And what choice did I have? What was I to do? You know, I mean, if I had an education, I would have never gotten married to this man. And I admit that that's a mistake I made. When Florian was 3 and you were 5, it was a major crisis. And I even asked, I called Opie. I said, you know, I can't anymore. I want to go back. He said, well, you asked for this man, and you know, now you gotta stick it out. Sticking out is never a good thing. And you know, I was devastated. I knew I was on my own. I was alone, and that's when I really, you know, that was the end. I didn't know which way to turn anymore. And so, you know, you heard things about Princess Diana and Prince Charles, and you know how he had he was really in love with another woman and still got married to Princess Diana because she was pretty. And you know, your dad got married to me because I was German. It's like okay. So you know, there were reasons on that side as well that were not all proper. And I don't want to make any other assumptions. That's the one thing that bothered me. So I will share that with you, because you know, for anyone to marry me because of my nationality is not good. Sorry, it has nothing to do with me. And so it was Omi Hildegard coming here to Hüttenbusch one day, because Omi Linda invited her and said, you know, I will show you once how we live, and then you will see if those two want to get married, they should get married. Well, Omi had her own set of reasons why she went out of her way to make this all work. Because, you know, 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl, you know, it's best to have the girl off and taken care of. So now they were focusing on the 3 boys because they were the breadwinners. And you know, for Omi, it was like, that's just how she's built. Men are it. You know, there's an uncle that I have. It's her cousin, actually. I'm allowed to say Manfred now, you know. And Claudia, his daughter, she was with us. Remember that? She stayed with us like I think 3 months. She was supposed to come for 6 and left early because your dad and her, they didn't get along, you know, and he was really nasty to her, you know. He kept yelling at her because she was smoking, and it's like, yeah, well, I didn't really like it either, but she did go outside every time she smoked, and there's so much you can say, and it wasn't pretty. And then of course that part I understand. It was always people coming, you know, recommended from my family, so he hated that. All right, you know. Do you see how the family, everything was intertwined, and there was not really always that much room for us to be who we are? That's the Barons and the Wooters. You know, it's a lot of baggage in your family. And are you interested at all, you know, to find out the nitty-gritty of all of this, or at least to the extent so that you can make sense of it for you, so you know who you are, where you fit in, and to form your own opinion of every single one of us, and you being free to be who you are, and maybe you are, you know, and I'm sure you are, because you're very successful, so you are probably inside yourself, and yet you are a part of the whole, and you will be so much bigger if you let that in, and you don't need to be afraid that you get caught up in it, because it doesn't exist anymore as it did back then. So there's no worry really. It's just see, Princess Diana is dead, but I'm still here. And I did the same that she did. You know, she was in a royal family, and she had to leave her children. She wasn't allowed to take them with her. And for me, I was a mess. I didn't even know how to take care of myself, really. And I could have never. I wasn't in a place to take care of you and Florian. And so, you know, you made your choice, and I have no idea how this worked out for you, because you don't talk about it. If you're fine with it, then good, fine. That's great. Then I'm happy for you. And still, I'm still here too. You know, I'm your mom. Remember that. You know, the woman that you're not you don't belong to me, and yet you're part of me. You're my flesh and blood, and I will always be connected to you. And you know, I want to live my life. I don't want to go back and you know, constantly like be with you and experience everything you do. No way. You know, what we have right now is wonderful. Only I think we can have just a little bit more, so it'll flow. Right now it's just like pushing me away, and well, I'm sorry, you know, I'm the only one who's not part of that family, and I'm alone, and you know, I don't feel lonely anymore. I used to when we were together. Now we're not together anymore. Now I finally don't feel lonely anymore, because there is, you know, it's like this thing. It's almost like I'm not me anymore. This thing is inside of me. So like what I'm thinking is not my thoughts. It's its thoughts. So how cool is that, you know? And because I know this, I can trust myself, guided by it, because it's with me. It's in me. It's part of me. And so, you know, everything I do suddenly makes sense. Even when I make a mistake, I think, it's like, well, what's it trying to tell me now? And sometimes it's just me being human. That happens too. You know, happened today because I forgot to put my wallet in my bag. And the one thing actually that I did get out of it is it actually allowed me to buy something that is a little bit more expensive and healthier than I would have wanted to buy. And this is sometimes its way, its cockeyed way to communicate with us, you know, and then it stalls us. It stops us even, you know, and if we learn to just enjoy that and say, well, okay, you know, fine, I need to go home and get my wallet, but I get something better out of it. Then I went, you know, and I bought a video, and the guy said, don't worry about it. It cost €1. The oil that I bought that was organic instead of you know, regular, cost €1 more. So I got it in the end for free. Can you imagine? So this is how this thing works. Isn't that amazing? This is what I would like to bring to you, and I do love you, and I hope that you find a way to us. How about that? Bye.